Of all the weeks for the Green Bay Packers to join the loser circle with the New York Giants, I will tell you, I did not expect it to be this week, my friend. Seamus, I can only imagine how you're doing after a wild football Sunday. Morale it looks pretty low from what I'm seeing right now after the highs from week 1 and 2.
You are telling me, but let me just say this. I am glad we are here on Decleated, the football podcast, to discuss what went down this Sunday. I'm Seamus Daigan, joined here by my co host, John Restrepo, and we are going to jump right in to the
Head first,
absolute
baby.
debacle that was week 3 in the NFL for the Packers and the Giants, frankly, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
This is going to be a bit of a play in two parts for me because as I was trying to hone and look at my notes and think about what I wanted to say, I was trying to channel both, the frustrated fan in me, the gut reaction that I had, the visceral gut reaction that I had watching
hmm
on Sunday at the home of a Browns fan, mind you, in enemy territory. Brutal.
that's pretty wild too how that lined up.
Absolutely brutal.
It's also
Um,
funny too because your reactions are like, I know I kind of teeter on the how emotional, how much am I going to yell, or and how much I'm desensitized to losing because I see it all the time. The Packers are a good team with Super Bowl aspirations, and you lost to one of the worst teams in the NFL. It's definitely invites a little more emotion and the need to be a little more excited about it because certainly you're not expecting it and the expectations are so much higher. So I feel like it might not be able to help yourself. I don't know, but I don't want to
no,
speak for you either.
and you know what? No, I think you're right. And I don't know what's worse, right? Like sitting alone in my basement or with my dad and like just being miserable, or like having it rubbed in my face by a Browns fan who, was won the Super Bowl in week 3. It was a great time. We had fun. It was all good fun, but it's definitely like you said, it definitely raises the stakes. It makes the emotions a little bit higher, makes it means a little bit more, right? Like it matters a little bit more when you're there. But the other part of me, besides the instant reaction, was okay. Cooler heads have since prevailed, and I think I've talked myself off the ledge, as I think a lot of people have, right? But let me just say, and as I was trying to channel what I was going through yesterday and how I wanted to articulate this, I am glad that I rewatched the highlights of this game because when I watched that, I was disgusted, absolutely disgusted, and I was instantly taken back out of my optimistic we're moving on mentality and brought right back into that seat yesterday watching the blocked field goal. The last 4 minutes of this game made me want to rip my hair out. What an absolutely abysmal performance from this football team. I mean, just utterly unacceptable for a team that has the highest aspirations and the highest of expectations, at least from the outside looking in. It didn't feel like it watching this game, but I was stunned. I mean, all the stuff that I praised last week on the podcast, the energy, the enthusiasm, the fear that they instilled in Dan Quinn last week defensively. Where was that this week? Now, granted, I don't want to turn this into a bashing the defense because if they give up a whopping 13 points, like that's
Yeah.
not that. Don't get me wrong, that's not what this is going to be. But the energy was different from the opening whistle. They were not flying around. They were not gang tackling. There were not 5 yellow hats around the ball every time. And then you get to the fourth quarter on an 80-degree day, their first away game of the season, and Judkins is popping off people. I mean, Harold Fannin, like he can't be tackled. It took 5 players. Quay Walker tried twice on the same play one time. Like it. So, and to me, again, that's the stuff where we can talk about the scheme and the play calling and things like that, and people are going to try to boil this down to, well, one play. If Jordan Love doesn't throw an interception, if the kick doesn't get blocked, whatever, that's fine. You can do that, but you can do that in any game. It's never just one play. It's the little things like that that eat away at you over the course of the game that makes you feel like they didn't deserve to win this game. They didn't want to win this game. They didn't respect the Browns.
Mm.
Nate
Well,
Hobbs
yeah,
thinks
and
Quinshon Judkins is going to go down when if he throws his right shoulder at him. Like, who do we think we
mhm.
are?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of no, I don't want to use the word harmless because obviously, wins are very important in the NFL, but it feels like it's just a classic trap game. I mean, you came off two really high emotional wins against really good teams in the NFL, And so naturally, you probably get a little worn down. You're not only just tired, but you're also have this high expectation of yourself. You feel like you're going against the Browns, and you could kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit. And clearly, that didn't work out for you guys. I'm also saying this having not watched a second of the game.
Again, this game is going to get boiled down in the media all week to the two or three plays, right? The big plays, they're the money makers. That's what's going to catch everybody's attention. But I'm telling you, this game was won and lost prior to any of those things. It was the accumulation of mistakes throughout the game. And again, I'm not going to say that the Packers beat themselves solely because they didn't. And I think that diminishes the effort and the way that the Browns, especially the Browns defense, played because they deserve a ton of credit. The Browns defense smothered our offense, which for all intents and purposes to this point has been unstoppable. I mean, obviously it hasn't necessarily translated to the scoreboard 100%, right? We weren't blowing the brakes off of people, but the offense was doing pretty much whatever they wanted when they were clicking, and there was none of that. I mean, they were stopped in their tracks. So give the Browns defense a ton of credit. That said, tell me if you've heard this story before. Behind the chains, negative plays, penalties on both sides of the ball. Like it again, so like you can't expect to win football games when you don't play winning football. These are the things we talked about it 2 weeks ago. I said when you have a game like this and it's a typical trap game and whatever, as long as you take care of the fundamentals, you control the mental mistakes, you play with the effort, good things will come. You are the better football team. It'll work itself out. But when you don't do those things and you have 14 penalties, what do you think is going to happen? Again, and penalties in critical moments. And we're taking unnecessary sacks. And again, it's just compounding of mistakes. It's the penalties, it's the sacks. And the sacks are partially because the offensive line played terribly. It's partially because we lost at one point in the game both starting tackles and a guard. It's partially because not a single offensive lineman was graded higher than a 55 PFF grade, including 4 of our 5 starters in the 40s. Again, not that you put too much stock in that, but again, it ain't great.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir here. Trust me, penalties, offensive line issues. This is my bread and butter here.
Unfortunately, an expert. But the thing that was so apparent to me is, again, I struggle because Matt LaFleur goes into these moments where he's just such a creative play caller. But in the first half, we are incessantly sticking with these deep drops, 5, 7-step drops, where Jordan Love clearly does not have time. We have these long developing routes downfield. They're showing, the all-22 angle of the replay of this sack. Jordan Love hits his back foot. His first read hasn't even out of his break yet, and he's getting sacked. Like, again, part of that is on the offensive line, but part of that is, okay, that's not working. Fix it. Why are we still, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We tried it the first couple drives. Why do we keep doing it? It's not working. They have a good pass rush. Our offensive line is beat up. Stop. Switch it up. Oh, wow. Our short pass game and screens and wide receiver screens and Josh Jacobs out of the backfield is being effective. Why are we getting away from that? Make them stop it. Like, that's the stuff that was infuriating to me. Again, you saw it on the touchdown drive in the second half. They were capable. It wasn't like the Browns' defense was an entirely immovable object. There were plays that were effective. We just were not doing anything consistently enough to get anything going. And again, it was the compounding of mistakes. It was the penalties. It was the play calling. It was the offensive line giving up sacks unnecessarily. And it's Jordan Love taking sacks unnecessarily. I mean, he's got a 3rd and 1 around their own 44-yard line in the third quarter as time is expiring. If you throw it into the 4th row, you got 4th and 1 from near midfield with a chance to go put this game away. I bet Matt LaFleur puts his nuts on the line and says, we're going for it. But instead, he takes an unnecessary 14-yard sack and you punt. Like, put the ball in the stands. Again, I get he's trying to take care of the football and it's growth and maturity, whatever. But that's taking care of the ball and field position just as much. So again, it was not just one player, and I'm gonna be sick of this narrative this week because that's what it's gonna be. But it wasn't. It was the accumulation of mistakes and unfundamentally sound football. That's what it was. And then I think my last negative point here, before I try to move on and be optimistic after I just dug myself into this critical hole, is again, you want to be this high achieving team this year, right? You want to be this team that shines in the big moments. And seemingly they had to this point. You have to have players, right? Just like the old saying, big time players make big time plays in big time moments. There was none of that this week. They shrunk in the fourth quarter. Everyone. Jordan Love throws the interception, right? Obviously. Then you've got the field goal unit as a whole who's responsible for this blocked field goal. I mean, McManus takes his sweet-ass time getting the ball off the ground. Then it's low to begin with. Tucker Kraft olays the guy on the left. He's blocked 6 kicks in his career. You'd think we'd pay attention to him, which is also unbelievable. Personally,
that is actually crazy.
6 kicks.
Who is this?
I don't even know his name.
Do you know the name? Oh, I was going to say, that's 6 blocked kicks?
6.
That's a crazy stat.
It's nuts. So again, all these things in the fourth quarter. Josh Jacobs fumbles. Now, ultimately, they got the ball back, and it was fine. But these are the types of plays that you cannot have. The defense, the penalties in the fourth quarter, the undisciplined football, Micah Parsons lining up in the neutral zone, offside, holding, pass interference, illegal contact, all of it, you name it, on the final few drives of the game. You just can't have it. I understand that the defense was put in a poor position after the pick, but it wasn't just that. It's the field goal drive. It's all the other things that lead up to that where you just can't have it if you want to be a championship caliber team. You've got to play 4 quarters of fundamentally sound football. And the Packers did not. They did not. And they got beat by the Browns. Again, I don't think that they beat themselves, and I don't think that the Browns had their best game of the season. I don't think that's it. I just think the Packers did not do enough to put this game out of reach like they should have. Now, before I move on entirely to optimistic Seamus and forward-thinking Seamus and rational Seamus, I have a couple things that didn't quite fit in the critical or optimistic bucket. So I'll call them our extracurriculars or intangibles. And I think you'll see what I mean. They're a little bit, they're caught in the middle. I don't know how to feel about any of them. So
it sounds like a new segment name if I've ever heard. So
yeah, the intangibles.
Yeah.
But a couple things that I don't know if I really want to complain about them, but I'm going to bring them up and kind of just say, well, these things also happened. Because again, it wasn't like the ref screwed us and, whatever. The ball bounced our way or didn't bounce our way. We were very much in control of our fate in this game. So
yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there right now.
You seem very self-aware about what the Packers did on Sunday. I feel like you're in a good space there.
So correct. I feel like I've built up enough goodwill to be able to say what I'm about to say.
Say it.
With that said, I would like to know what the rule is in the 2-minute situation when the referee has to spot the football. Because we have seen this come into play many a time, where the center tries to put the ball down, and the official has to come in and pick it up, and he has to put it down, and then they can snap the football. Which, technically speaking, might have happened, but I don't know if it officially happened according to the rule book, and I should probably look into that, but I'm waiting for somebody on Twitter to tell me.
Interesting.
So what happened here, for those, aka you, who did not watch, is on the Browns' game-winning drive after the blocked field goal, they are near midfield, and they need probably 5 more yards or so to make this a more comfortable field goal, a makeable field goal, honestly. And everybody and their mother's expecting them to run a little 5-yard out route, and if it's not there, Flacco's going to dirt it. But they throw a slant to Njoku right over the middle of the field. No timeouts.
Oh, boy.
With let's call it 10 seconds left, 8 seconds left. Just a wild move.
Yep. Really banking on the fact that they're going to have the ref spot it, touch it, and be able to spike.
Yep. Yes, crazy. Wild. But okay, fine. Yeah. So they do it. They complete the pass. Here I am thinking the game's over. Like, tick, 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 tick. Like, it's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm also screaming, like, hold him. Like, they're not going to call defensive delay game. Just hold him.
Like a little bit. Like a little, like, oh, no, I actually laid on top of you too long.
Knocked the ball out of his hand. People do it to us all the time.
Oh, anyway. Yeah.
So Njoku catches the ball in the middle of the field on about the Packers' 41-yard line, let's call it. I don't know if that's the exact line. 41-yard line. He then starts walking back to his offense to try to meet them to, like, make it quicker to get the ball snapped. He meets the center at about the 43-yard line. So he walks 2 yards back, further away from the end zone. Center puts the ball down on the 43, 2 yards further away from the end zone, from the goalpost, than where Njoku caught it. He's basically giving himself a 2-yard loss.
Okay.
For the sake of saving time. The ref comes up, sprints to the ball, barely even stops running, taps the football, and keeps running to get out of the way.
So it's not a proper spot then, is what you're saying.
Oh no. The center spotted the football. The center spotted the football. The spot was wrong.
Yeah.
Albeit it was 2 yards farther, but it was wrong.
Yeah.
And there were 3 seconds left when they stopped the football. So if the referee picks up the ball and says no,
puts it in the proper spot,
puts it in the proper spot, and everybody else is not going to get set in 3 seconds, the game is over.
Wow.
Over.
Okay. That is. You know what, Seamus? That is something that I'm sure would go overlooked by others. You're right. That is not a proper spot. And like I said, yeah, what do you do there?
Again, this game did not
you're
come
gonna
down
have to do
one
some
play.
digging in the rule book.
I know. It's a fishy one.
Can the player spot the ball himself if he deters his team by a few yards,
right?
And just lets the referee tap it? Yeah,
I'll take the 2-yard loss.
Oh yeah, that is bizarre.
I don't know what constitutes the referee spotting the football.
That's also not a spot. That's him just touching. Yeah. I guess that's what it is. What is a spot? Is it him just again
making contact?
Yeah, or is it him actually placing it in the correct location?
Because again, let's say you stop the clock. You say we got to get the spot right. Stop the clock. There's 3 seconds left. If it starts on the one, I mean, I guess if they let them get set and they started on the referee's whistle, it's fine.
But but then that gets weird too, because it's how are you gonna?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Again, I would love to know the league office, their official thoughts on that.
Give them a ring.
Report on that. I would love to know.
Yeah,
the question is we may or may not get the answer to.
That is very interesting, though.
So that's intangible number 1.
Okay.
Food for thought.
That was a great first one too. I'm curious where the other two are going to be.
It may go downhill from here. We'll see.
Okay. That was a good. I was going to say that one really got me thinking.
That at least I noticed in real time. I don't know if real time, but I noticed that one. This is coming from somebody else, which I think is a little bit more of a reach. But again, something to note. Allegedly, because I was not there, in the stadium, the Browns were being a bit cheeky with the artificial noise that was being played and the timing of said noise.
In 2025?
In 2025. Not crowd noise, but that sound that's I think they said it was cymbals, but it sounds like a drum where it's boom, 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 boom. And it just gets quicker and quicker and quicker. You're supposed to clap along with it, whatever.
Yeah.
They were playing that, which is fine, between plays, as you do. Mm-hmm. But then the Packers have receivers running in motion, and Jordan Love is in his cadence, and they are still playing that noise, which feels like a violation of the rules.
Oh my God.
I don't think you can do that when play is happening.
Yeah, you would think once they get set, I don't know the rules for that either. So.
Right, but once they're on the line of scrimmage, I think you start to turn the volume down and it fades out. And again, not to make excuses,
another gray area. I don't know. Where do you draw the line there?
I don't know. The Packers had a handful of false starts. They had a handful of timeouts they had to call because the play clock was running out and Jordan Love couldn't communicate. There are alternative factors here that may have been at play.
That's interesting. Hey, more food for thought, though. Let's hear number 3. Let's go, man. You're killing it so far.
This one is a little bit more of a Packer-specific. We're itching back into critique territory here, less in the same vein as the other two, but intangible because it's totally fugazi and just it means nothing. But
sure.
The Packers lost this football game last Tuesday. The Packers lost this football game last week when Rasheed Walker sat in the locker room with a straight face and said, I think we can go undefeated. And you know what? Not a single other person on the team said, no, you know what, man, we're going to take it one game at a time. Xavier McKinney said the closest thing to it. You could tell he's an Alabama guy when he was a lot of teams start 0-2 and then they're not worth shit at the end of the season, which is true.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality that we need to have. And Matt LaFleur came out pissed off in his press conference this morning and said, I'm upset that our players do not have the same mentality that I have and that I've tried to set the expectation of, that we need to go 0-1. Sorry. That we need to go 1-0 every week.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We can no longer look too far ahead. We are focused on the game that's in front of us, and that is it.
Yeah.
I think they needed this. We're off
Yeah, it's a learning lesson. Get it over with earlier in the season, too.
Yep.
I 100% agree.
We're past this best team in the league hype, all of this, the outside noise, the undefeated narratives, all of that. Get it out the window. It's gone. It's done. And now we're moving into optimistic Seamus here. Flush it. You move on.
Perfect.
You got it out of the way. It's done.
Well, speaking of optimistic Seamus, I don't think you could be any more optimistic after take a deep breath, realizing you got the Cowboys down the pike here. Week 4, they look like absolute crap against the Bears, and I don't think too highly of the Bears either. So I think you have some reason to be optimistic. I think they could be a good get-back game. Another primetime game. Am I mistaken by that? Is that Sunday night?
Correct. Sunday Night Football.
In Dallas or?
In Dallas.
Yeah, there you go.
2.0.
I was going to say, take control of your second home. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing I would like to see more either than for you guys to right the ship against them also. I just can't imagine that offense and some of the woes that they were having to not get moving against this defense. I mean, they're just pitiful.
Yeah, no, look, even the best teams lay an egg every once in a while. It happens to the best of us, and to your point, I'm glad we got it out of the way now. Like, right, it's out of the system, it's done, and now get angry, get pissed off, and then go beat the piss out of the Cowboys. Like, I'm totally fine with a get-right game on Sunday Night Football and just hang a 40 burger on Dallas. That's fine with me. I'll trade a 1 o'clock loss week 3 to Cleveland for an 8:30 beatdown on Sunday Night Football week 4 against Dallas. So
1,000%. 1,000%.
Of note, before I get a little bit further into the Dallas thing, one more fun stat for you. This was the most penalized the Packers have been in a game since week 3 of 2010 against the Bears, when they committed 18 penalties and lost 20-17. If you remember, something good happened at the end of that 2010 season.
We love our parallels.
We do. So, I'll just leave that there. Some more food for thought.
Fun stat right there. Little next gen.
Mm-hmm. There you go. It's the stuff that, that's why we keep coming back. These are the stats that keep us going.
Oh, yeah.
But no, to your point, Dallas looked pitiful against the Bears, who I don't trust either. I mean, Caleb looked good, but it's hard to know, was it really him finally finding the groove and him and Ben Johnson getting on the right path together? Or is it the fact that Dallas' defense is just brutal and they lost Diggs, who wasn't really himself anyway?
He sucked anyway, yeah.
But he's probably better than whoever else is there.
Well, think about it this way. The Giants put up 30 points against that defense too, and you see all what the Giants did the other 2 weeks. So I think it's a fair assessment on the Dallas defense.
Yeah. So I hope that we are more pissed off than the Cowboys are rightfully going to be after they just got their butts kicked.
Yeah.
And like Matt LaFleur says, we got to wake up with our piss hot, and let's just go be the better team for the full 60 minutes. Let's play 4 quarters of fundamentally sound football. Couldn't do it last week. Let's try again this week. Let's see. It's a great opportunity. Like you said, I mean, everything was clicking for the Bears. They were getting everybody involved in the passing game. Let's do the same this week with Jordan Love spreading the ball around. Tucker Kraft, thankfully, is healthy after that bizarre scare last week.
Yeah.
And let's go. And let's force some turnovers. I mean, Xavier McKinney had his first pick of the year this week. It was basically a Hail Mary at the end of the first half. It really, it was kind of garbage time. But let's force some turnovers. Let's get some fumbles, maybe a strip sack for somebody up there. Rashawn Gary's leading the league in sacks. Come on.
That's pretty wild.
You want to talk about Micah Parsons'
That
impact?
is the Micah Parsons effect. Yep. Free up everyone else.
Exactly. You want to talk about, people are going to say, oh, he doesn't have the sack numbers. It doesn't translate, whatever. It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's really what it is.
Right.
It's a team
game. He doesn't
game.
need to be a Pro Bowler. Correct.
Yeah.
So, obviously there's going to be a lot of hype around the Micah return to Dallas, and rightfully so. But it's going to be an exciting one for us, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't say that I've ever been upset about a trip down to Dallas.
No, not for you guys at least.
We are 6-0 in that stadium.
The Packers are 6-0.
Since Jerry World was built, they are 6-0, including our Super Bowl victory over the Steelers, which doesn't really
that is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Let's go down there, Let's go down there and make it 7-0, and we'll be right as rain.
All right, Seamus. Well, that was great. We had a good mix of some fire emotions, some bad words, some some crazy food for thoughts too. That was probably my favorite bit of your whole Packers spiel. And then, like you said, a little optimism at the end. I'm going to advise you right now. There's going to be no optimism from me. So just a little context. Sunday Night Football, home opener. We're already 0-2. Not a lot going on. You always get a little more excited because you're at your first regular season tailgate. There's, just the smell in the air. Beautiful day, too. Sun shining. Got a new tailgate grill that we're firing up for the first time at Giant Stadium or at MetLife Stadium. I mean, the vibes are high. And then 8 o'clock rolls around. And I knew it was going to be a bad game because you know what? We went into the Verizon gate where we usually park in front of to go up to our seats. And you know how, like, for the Monday night games, they give you those little wristbands that light up?
Hmm.
I thought that was there's 80,000 wristbands for people because everyone gets one. They ran out of the wristbands.
That's
How
bizarre.
this cheap franchise runs out of little glow up wristbands you throw it after one game? Are you kidding me? And
That's
they didn't
crazy.
no pennant for the home opener. No. I mean, come on, guys. Anyway, so if I between the no light up bracelet and the fact that, which I didn't even know until a little further into the game, so some recurring theme of kicking troubles and unreliability from Graham Gano. And I would have told you in a heartbeat, yeah, the Giants are not winning this game. I didn't find out until our punter was lining up for a field goal that he was hurt. But here we go again. I had to go back to rewatch this game because you get so lost in the emotions and just kind of check yourself. Like, did I really see what I saw last night? Was it just blind rage? Was it maybe one too many beers that might have had my judgment one way? No, it was painful of a watch today as it was live in front, at MetLife Stadium. Once again with this team, we just get like crazy inconsistencies with, I guess, mostly with the offense where, we had literally nothing going right against Washington. Last week against Dallas, I mean, passing game is unbelievable. Russell Wilson looked like Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson, but we can't run the ball. Here, I mean, Russell Wilson looked like Denver Broncos Russell Wilson, but we were actually able to run the football. And you think that it's going to be an Andrew Thomas thing, but it really wasn't because he only played a few drives in the first half. And something's going on with him, man, because he got out of the game. But thank God that Marcus and Bo, the rookie, has been holding his own a little bit because something is seriously wrong with Andrew Thomas's foot or ankle or whatever was bothering him before.
What a
Uh,
bizarre situation that was too, because, and obviously Twitter doesn't tell the whole story, but I mean, he comes off the field for that first drive, and the camera instantly pans to him on the sideline, right? And he's sitting there, standing there, no helmet on, just laughing. Like, clearly he's not injured. He didn't re-injure anything. Come to find out after the fact, he's on a snap count, whatever. But
mm.
it's still, what a weird situation. And then, okay, he's on a snap count, fine, I get it. And we're doing the same thing with Michael Parsons, right? But all of the snaps are just front loaded the first however many snaps, 30 snaps in a game, and
Yeah,
then that's it.
yeah. You
Like,
don't
you don't
put
want
him
to
in like a
save a little.
crucial third down. That's why, watching from the stadium, I thought he was just hurt again.
Hmm.
But I just don't. There's so many of these. I mean, and that's just a whole nother discussion is the coaching situations across the board. I will say before we get to the coaching, one of the biggest things too was just again lack of effort or lack of discipline on this team. In the first half of this game, as we've seen in some of these previous games this season, the Giants are keeping it close here. It's a 6-6 ball game or 6-9, I forget what the score was at that point. And Mahomes throws this backwards pass that is clearly a backwards pass. and there's 3 Giants and 1 Chiefs player around to try to pick up this ball, and everyone's trying to scoop and score. Everyone's trying to scoop and score. Just jump on the football. Just jump on top of it, get fetal, and cradle that thing, because there's a minute left before halftime, and you could take a touchdown lead here because you're 10 yards from the end zone. But somehow everyone's trying to scoop and score. Everyone's trying to scoop and score. The ball gets bobbled around, and Patrick Mahomes runs 30 yards to go, to go somehow recover this fumble. It's stuff like that. It's not necessarily just a lack of effort, because you could say there's a lot of guys hustling the football trying to get there, but it's a lack of discipline. What is more important? And this is how it feels across the board. You get the Malik Neighbors, doesn't pout much after Dallas. He gets 2 catches, which is disgusting in this game. And here we go again. Everyone wants to pad the stat sheet. Everyone wants that scoop and score fumble touchdown. Just jump on the ball. Everyone wants to be the hero, and it's all about it's just a collection of talented guys that want to have the spotlight for themselves in this New York market and be the hero. You be the hero as a freaking unit and just jump on that ball. And that's 6 points off the board, assuming the play calling in the red zone is adequate enough to get 10 yards, which it hasn't. So maybe that's not the case. But then you can't kick a field goal because your field goal kicker is hurt or so. But it makes no sense. And then the crazy thing is, Gano comes in later in the game.
I mean, the poor guy was doubled over in pain after he as soon as the ball left his foot and landed back on the ground, he was like hunched over, clearly in pain. But to your point, you go out there 3 times a game. He doesn't have to kick off, but if he's called on like 3 times to kick a field goal, like I think he can deal with it.
They should have been in this situation to begin with. And I'm not going to go into a whole Joe Shane thing, because I'm just trying to focus on the coaching here, because this is going to get way too long-winded. But you don't think after 2 straight seasons of this that we would find a solution and get a new kicker maybe? I like Gano. He's reliable. He's pretty clutch, I would say. I wouldn't say he's, out of a Terry in his prime, but he's a reliable kicker. He can make it from pretty much any distance. But if he's not going to be available to play, what is the point? Why are we playing this cat and mouse game? Why do I have to watch my punter attempt a field goal that he's probably just never does? It just blows my mind. That's coaching issue number 1. Actually, no, that's number 2 because of the lack of discipline. That's number 2. Number 3, how come your best player doesn't touch the ball until the 4th quarter? How does Malik Neighbors get his first catch in the 4th quarter? Like, just make it make sense. And I know Russell Wilson's moonball is, that's why we signed him. That's what he's all about. But, it doesn't mean you can't throw the ball short to a wide receiver. You can throw a screen here or there, or a slant. Slants should be easy enough. I don't care if Russell Wilson doesn't have the best short throw accuracy. If that's not his game. He took plenty of deep shots. I mean, all of them were horrible. The deep shots I saw was an underthrow to Malik Neighbors and a throw to our 5'8" wide receiver in triple coverage. So, but we can't throw a slant. The problem overall with this offense is that the play calling is so just vanilla. It's so predictable. Seamus, how many times have I said this in the last 5 years? Dable's his offensive guru. Kafka's his boy, apparently, when he gives him play calling duties. Why am I from the mezzanine of MetLife Stadium calling out what the next play is going to be? And then it actually happens. They finally get success running the football in this game. And you know what? One positive, one optimistic John, Cam Scatterbo is a beast. I was worried about his speed in the NFL. I still worry about his longevity, but he is a dog and is one of the only guys that I feel like genuinely wants to win and play football physically and run through someone. And He was fantastic. He was the entire offense yesterday.
He was.
So
He,
you finally get a taste of running the football with Cam Scatabo, which is great, which is awesome. But don't you think you could mix in a play action here or there? We were screaming from our seats. It's part of the reason why I'm struggling to talk now. Just yelling play action because they was just, you finally get this taste of success. And then you're like a glutton, just hand the ball off, hand the ball off. He's going to do the rest. He's going to do the rest. And, you don't think that Steve Spagnuolo is going to figure it out. And that was a whole other thing, too. The biggest thing in my eyes when you have, discrepancy in coaches, the Chiefs exit the first half up 3 in a game where they left a lot to be desired. They're up on the scoreboard, and now you go into the locker room, and this is where you separate the good coaches from the bad. This is where you make your halftime adjustments. You play around. What did you see in the first half? How can we scheme this up? And then Andy Reid is just toying with them in the second half. And, you hear on the broadcast, too, and you see a little bit where you got these no-looks passes from Mahomes and the pump fake, then hit him down the seam because they know the defense is so, reactive and will just, you flinch and then everyone moves one direction. You pop it right over the top of them. And and again, to Collinsworth's point, I'll give him credit. They look like the Kansas City Chiefs that we all know. It was a perfect get-back game for them because there was just nothing done. And we saw it last week with Dallas. In the second half, the defensive coordinator is not going to change a thing. He is going to rush 4 and say, have fun.
yeah.
Here's our zone coverage.
You know what the other thing is? And I think it's true across weeks, too. Like, you are going to live and die by this offense's ability and the players' abilities to make plays. It feels like, and it was very evident this week, and it didn't really occur to me, honestly, until I was just listening to you, is this offense feels like backyard football. All right, Malik, you're going to go 10 yards, you're going to go in, and then you're going to get to the linebacker, and then Wandale, you're going to do, like, they're drawing up plays on the back of a napkin, and it's just whatever they can, like, okay, our route tree is in 10 yard in, a 10 yard out, a post and a fade, and like, it's just wildly simple, wildly unsystematic. But
so simple. There's no what's the identity? What's the identity of this team?
There's
zone run and deep shots. Like what is this offense?
And there's no continuity. There's no we're going to run this play and we might only gain 1 or 2 yards, but it's going to set something up later. There's nothing.
No.
And then the other thing, to your point, like if you're going to take the deep shots, you can do these things. Like okay, fine, but like make the most of them and don't just take the shot for the sake of taking the shot. It worked last week in Dallas because Dallas's defense can't cover, anything. But when it's successful, it's going to look great. But when it's unsuccessful and you're playing against a good defense and like you said, a good defensive coach, that like you're going to get blanketed and they were stymied for the majority of the game. Unless an individual effort like Cam Scatabo comes in and makes a good play.
And I have seen a lot of poor play calls. In the fourth quarter, you're down. I think it was 3rd or 4th and goal, which, I mean, they put themselves in this situation anyway. But why are we running a 4 wide receiver? We have 4 wide receivers on the field. Why are all 4 of them running 8-yard curls and then stopping at the goal line? What are we doing? Yep. What it just is it is actually the worst play calling I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. I would take this is going to be a throwback too. This might be pre-podcast, but I know you'll get this niche reference. I will take a Kevin Gilbride draw. Draw me to death. Give me a running back draw to death over this shit. It is pathetic. Like you said, it's just kind of like, oh, we haven't really done this in a while. Let's try this. Or, oh, this is working. Let's just do it and like not stop. Like I get, Scatabo works. I don't even know what the ratio of plays, 3 out of every 5 plays. But you got to do something those other 2 plays. You got to throw the ball. You got to move the ball through the air or do something else, some trickery, misdirection. There's none of it, and it's just awful. And I it's just really frustrating because this is a game once again that they could have won, but as we've seen, it's just a bad team being a bad team. And then the biggest slap in the face right here is when I have to hear, Giants media personalities, ex-players, people that I grew up with that have been part of winning teams getting force-fed propaganda by John Mara. I don't know if you could hear this either, but I'm going to see if the audio comes through.
Look, the Giants right now could very well be 2-1. So this is not a bad team. So for those of you that are walking out of the stadium right now, or you're watching this game at home, like this, and when you start off with saying, "Here we go again," no, this is a different team. Like this team is better,
and it's hard.
They're just not finding ways to win.
Right.
They're finding ways to give the game to the other team.
Sean, I love you, and I would kill if you were the starting center on our team right now. But it's a little counterintuitive what you just said. This team is different. Seamus, has what I've been describing to you the last 3 weeks been different from what I've been describing to you the last 2 years? Or am I just crazy?
No, you're not. Like, sure, could the Giants be 2-1? Could they be? Yeah. Could I wake up a millionaire tomorrow? I could. I would.
And guess what? Last season the Giants could have had a playoff team record too. They could have been a 9-8. They could have been 10-7. But because they are a bad team and keep finding ways to lose instead of finding ways to win, you see where we're going here? What are we doing, guys? I'm telling you, there's nothing we can do about it too, because ownership is, it's its own thing. Like I can't buy the team from them. If I could, I would, but I don't have $17 billion laying around. The New York Football Giants, a once proud franchise, is trying to tell you that this team that you just watched on Sunday Night Football is a good team. That's what the New York Giants, that's their standard now. That's a good team. 0-3, this roller coaster of whatever we've been witnessing, this identityless collection of men is a good team.
This is not like you just played the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Lions back to back to back and lost all in close fashion. And you're saying, well, they could be 2-1 easily, and they played good teams. Like I think there's an argument to be made. You lose to the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Lions by a combined 10 points, and somebody goes on after the third loss and goes, this team could be 2-1. I think that okay, fine, I'll bite. But that's not the case here.
No.
That's not what we're talking about.
And guess what? We haven't played those teams yet. We play them, just not yet.
Right. Well, hey,
what are we going to do then?
You're going to fuck around and find out next week at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon when the Chargers come to town.
Timeout. Seamus, you have just perfectly segued this podcast into probably some of the craziest news from my neck of the woods, at least, in a very long time. I mean, probably since the draft. But rookie quarterback from Ole Miss, Jaxson Dart, appears to be making his first career start this Sunday. At least that's the belief in the building. He will be making his first career start against the Los Angeles Chargers in week 4, where we talked about Jaxson Dart maybe sitting the entire season. But when you're an 0-3 team with terrible coaching, terrible management, terrible ownership, honestly, toxic, terrible fan base too. Because we got a "Let's go Dart, we want Dart" chants last night on Sunday Night Football, which that just bewildered me. But here we are. And again, I could eat my words, and he could play well, but I'm nervous about the prolonging of this awful coaching regime, which I am just sick and fed up with right now. Also, the timing in which this is done is very interesting. It's just the typical Giants roller coaster of, Russell Wilson is the worst quarterback in the NFL, so he's the best quarterback in the NFL in week 2, to the worst again. And that was enough to pull the plug. So here we are. This is the belief that Jaxson Dart will be starting. And I don't really know what to make of it, honestly. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, honestly.
Well, I think you have a pretty good idea of where I stand, or where I think I stand, right? Like,
Especially from the Packers mentality. Yes, I had a feeling.
you're paying Russell Wilson to be the starting quarterback. You're also, mind you, paying Jameis Winston to be a quarterback on this roster, and probably not paying him to be the third quarterback on the roster. Um, this is also a team in the Chargers who is, again, we've had this talk about the Packers being potentially the best team in the NFL. The Chargers might be the best team in the NFL, and they've got the resume to prove it. I mean, 3 divisional wins to open the year is no small feat, especially in the AFC West. This is also a defense that is top 10 in yards allowed per game and points allowed per game. Is this really the situation in your second home game in front of the Boo Birds who are going to be quick? Like, is this really the situation, the scenario you want your quarterback to be playing in? Like, the season, from the fan perspective, is very much still alive. If Jaxson
No,
Dart
it's
doesn't
not.
play well,
No,
well,
it's not.
hey, but let me tell you this: if Jaxson Dart doesn't play well next week, they're going to be just as pissed off. They're going to be just as pissed
They
off.
might be more pissed off.
So what's the point? Wait until the season is lost. Take the pressure off. You're not going to Zach Wilson this kid.
No,
If he
but
plays-
Seamus,
if he-
I'm telling you, after this game, though, the season is. I mean, well, I told you the season was lost. 2 o'clock week one.
you did.
I think that's genuinely what it is. Like, I think the season is lost. Like,
No,
it's.
if he comes out and he slings it next week and they beat the Chargers, it ain't over. It's back. You're back.
Well, if that's the case, then that's the right decision. Then,
Correct.
if he does play well, which, like, I mean, I hope he does. I'm not rooting for his downfall by any means.
I know.
I
but
have to
just
preface that.
the odds of that happening are so unlikely to me.
Oh yeah.
Like, it bothers the hell out
No,
of me.
I know. The worst part is too, we play the Saints the week after.
Right.
Again, it's not in front of the home fans, so it's
God forbid.
Well, it's all about optics for the Giants. It's all about the optics. It's all they care about is protecting the brand, the shitty brand and the shitty product they put out. They got to defend it like it's not, like it's like it's gold. It's great. It's just everything in this organization is backwards, and it's unfortunate, but it's just the case.
I'll tell you this. I watched the game last night, and I have, to 2 moments ago, I have been true to this, that I am the biggest anti-playing rookie quarterback. It has nothing to do with Jaxson Dart. Anti-playing your rookie quarterback behind a bad offensive line with a bad team around him with a potentially bad head coach. I'm anti.
It makes no sense, dude.
That said, I am the most pro Jaxson Dart playing I've ever been because I was disgusted watching the final drive of the game last night. Disgusted. It was pitiful. I was flipped wholeheartedly, black and white cookie, yin and yang. Couldn't have been more opposite in that moment.
Wow.
That said, if Brian Daboll listens to this podcast once in his life, let it be tonight, because I was right about Bryce Young, and I'm right about this. I'm telling you right now, if they put him in the game on Sunday, they're going to Zach Wilson him. Bryce Young got put in the game way too early in Carolina, and he lost his confidence. Now, they may have revived him a bit by sitting him again last year and putting him back in. He's played better since then. He looks like shit this year, but he played better at the end of last year.
Hey, no, he just won 30-0 against Atlanta.
True. Watch the first 2 games before that. So
true.
But
fair enough.
Again, maybe he's on the upward trajectory. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
The odds are not in your favor.
No,
Please, for the love of God, do not ruin this kid's career because you're trying to save yours.
And my problem too, and again, like you did, kind of swing it back around and brought back the don't start him, put him in. My biggest thing too is like Jaxson Dart does not fix any of the problems on this team. It doesn't solve one. I mean, maybe you get a little more mobility than you would Russell Wilson, but I wouldn't say like an exorbitant amount. I also would, maybe you gain a little short, medium accuracy throws, sure, but that doesn't help the play calling. That doesn't help curls, all 4 curls on the goal line. That doesn't help run to the right, run to the right, run to the left, run to the right, punt. It doesn't help all of that. Unless Brian Daboll has literally spent his entire offseason, instead of, getting the starters ready and getting the team that he puts out week one to like be the most successful team that he could, and has literally only been installing plays for when Jaxson Dart eventually takes the reins because he knew the season was going to be over anyway. And that's what he's done. And this offense is going to look completely different, which even if he did spend more time on Jaxson Dart than he should have, the actual starters, I highly doubt is going to be the case. It's just not a good situation. I mean, you hit all the nails with offensive line, coaching, help from the defense too. It's just,
Again,
it's
and on a team where you have questionable play calling, you think pulling the potential Hall of Fame quarterback and putting in the rookie who has no experience under his belt is going to help the ability to audible at the line of scrimmage and make in-game adjustments? Just a thought.
No, I know. And I just don't know. And to your point, I don't know how much. I don't know. I don't think. Who knows? Actually, I don't want to say anything because I do not speak for the greater collective of New York Giants fans. But like you said, you are throwing this kid in. It might be worse to start him at a home game over an away game because of the Giants fans are at their wits' end. I'm speaking I'm at my wits' end. I would say the overall majority of Giants fans, if MetLife Stadium was made out of wood, it'd be burned to the ground right now. There's just no, everyone is just, they're colliding with each other. We got NFL, few Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor legends in the Giants, and Carl Banks and other Giants media personalities getting into Twitter battles with guys that I listen to for Giants podcasts and stuff like that. The Giants Twitter is at war with the fan base is divided. The culture is just everything about this team. Again, it trickles down from the top, but I mean, from ownership to me, it is completely lost, and everything in between. This is not the lowest I've been as a Giants fan. We've had some pretty low lows recently. I don't know. It's pretty close, though. It's just the most mutiny and the most chaotic I feel like the Giants have ever been. And I hate that. And maybe that is a different type of low, but I just feel like this season already there's so much noise. There's so much headline, and we are 0-3. We're not good. We should not be getting these headlines. I know we're a New York team and a big market and stuff like that, but this is the loudest it's ever been. But I get it because every single other player that leaves this team is fantastic, and the common denominator is this regime that is somehow hung on, and here we are, and it just really, really stinks, and it puts me in a mental roller coaster right now. I am scatterbrained as a Giants fan. And I try to come on this podcast. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. And I try to come on this podcast, and I try to organize my thoughts. But then I get the Jaxson Dart news, and as we are preparing for this podcast, and it's just they just don't want me to be great. They don't want their players to be great. They don't want their coaches to be great. They don't want the GM to be great. And the owner isn't great. Everything is just oh my God. I can't even find the words, dude. I just can't. It's just frustrating. It really is. That's all it comes down to. But
I know you're in agony. I'm watching it right before my eyes. I have to say, I would love to see the org chart that goes from John Mara to you. That's an awesome org chart. I'd like to see.
I should prepare. So
you should prepare. You should.
Some kind of graphic.
Like
what is the flow chart between John Mara and me? Oh my God.
That's something I would like to see.
I will say though, I'm not at the bottom though. There are definitely people lower than me. I'm not at the very, very bottom.
That's true. Hey, well, you're a season ticket holder, so you're definitely up. Not at the bottom of the hierarchy.
You know what the problem is though? I feel like I'm lower because I'm a Giants fan and a season ticket holder. I feel like such a sucker right now. They are just sucking the money, joy and excitement away from the sport that I love the most.
Yep.
It really makes it not fun to like. It just I'm literally just numb.
No,
I get
it's
more
brutal.
pleasure just watching any other game, but my own team.
And it sucks too, right? Because that's the whole point of sports. You go to these games, you're a season ticket holder, and it's exciting. And the whole point of sports and things like entertainment, it's to bring you joy, right? And so that's why, if you're a real fan, obviously you're realistic about expectations. You're playing the Chiefs, and you know that you might not win the game, but you go in excited that you're going to have a good time and you're going to enjoy yourself. And
That's it.
And you hype yourself up thinking like, you obviously, again, you want to be happy. So you've got somewhat high expectations, and it doesn't happen, and it's beyond frustrating. I will say the one real point I want to make before we go totally off the rails here is the juxtaposition with Daniel Jones playing well in the Colts is just the icing on the cake here, because like you said, all the things that are going wrong within the organization are enough on their own. But then you throw that on top, and it's just like you said, like it was loud with Daniel Jones when he was here.
Oh yeah.
But now that he's gone, and you
it's louder.
Fix the problem.
It's louder. Because he's playing well, it's making it worse. And again, I don't want to go too far into that either.
I don't. But I just want.
Because I have also been the biggest Daniel Jones deterrent either. Yeah. So it's not a good look for me too. When I said how bad he is, and whatever. It's tough. I'm not even going to go into it. I got to save myself.
Speechless.
That's it, my friend. So here we are. We're 0-3. We've had one winning season through 3 weeks in the last 10 years. So it's just, again, but as Sean O'Hara, Giants legend, said, this is a different team. This is a different team, guys. Yep, it's louder, it's noisier, and it's the most chaotic it's ever been. But no, let's throw a rookie quarterback into the mix. That'll be great. That's a recipe for success.
When you are looking back with nostalgia on the Kevin Killdrive days, that's when you know it's bad.
That is maybe one of the, like, if you had to, if someone ever asked you, if I have to make it through the full season of doing this podcast, talking about this team, and someone asks you, Seamus, when did John really fall off the rails? You'll say, oh, when he glorified Kevin Gilbride and his nonstop use of a draw. Yeah. And the pain that used to give me, but I would kill for that now based over Mike Kafka and Dable's offense right now. It's awful. And again, let me try to bring a little bit energy up and look forward to next week instead of just wallowing in misery. But and then we'll just get out of here because this is going on way longer than I wanted this to. I hope Jaxson Dart succeeds. I really do, because I am sick of watching bad football, and I'm sick of watching losses. And I'm also going to be at the Chargers game this week, and it would be nice if I could witness my team win. And it would be really fun for a rookie quarterback to win and have some excitement about him going forward. But, I just don't want to be in this perpetual state of, he's great, but, I don't believe in the coaching. And then we have two regimes that, don't really overlap well. And it's just a weird feeling. And look, can Jaxson Dart be the hero and turn the Giants franchise around? I don't know. That is a pretty hefty ask, if you ask me. And, if he does, that is fantastic. I want him to succeed. I want him to win. And if he could somehow salvage this culture, that would be fantastic. But that would be at the expense of letting these other people in power in this organization get away with just awful management decisions, coaching decisions, and everything, and excuses all that. And that's just a shame, because that's not how this team should be run. I've been lucky enough to see this team managed properly and coached properly. And, every time on the video boards, when I'm sitting at MetLife, they remind you of the glory days when they were doing that. I don't want it to be a memory. I don't want it to be I don't want to be nostalgic about that. I want to witness that today. I want to witness that. I want to see that going forward, is that okay, we're in good hands at least. We have a good future ahead of us. And Jackson Dart could be a part of that, and I hope he is. But until I see it, and just because, again, he's one player. I know he's the most important position, but he's one player on a team with 11 other guys on the field, or sorry, 10 other guys on the field. And there's only so much that one guy is going to do to the entire team when everything else is pointing in the wrong direction. So, with that being said, though, I cannot wait for week 4. It'll be very, very interesting. I will tell you that.
At the very least, you get to see your Oregon boy Justin Herbert in the flesh.
I will get to see my Oregon boy Justin Herbert. I will get to look at another quarterback that I feel should have been a New York Giant, and watch him probably beat the New York Giants instead. But again, even if, I hope Dart at least is, looks competent. And
Yeah.
if I have learned one thing from this season, which I should learn every season, is that, just because he looked good in the preseason doesn't mean that he will against the real deal. So I'll take it with a grain of salt, but I'm hoping that I could be a little more positive. I mean, I couldn't get less positive. I hope I'm somewhat positive next time we hop on this podcast.
Yeah, it's a weird spot for both of us to be in, obviously, after week 3 performances that neither of us are proud of, and neither of our teams are proud of. But oddly optimistic and oddly bright horizons here as we come into week 4 for both of us. A chance for the Packers to get right in Dallas, and a chance for the Giants to turn their franchise around. You don't know. Jaxson Dart is just as good a shot as anybody to turn this thing around. There are not just as many, but there are enough rookie quarterback success stories, right, that we know it's a possibility. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, despite it being unlikely perhaps, but still a lot to look forward to for both of us coming into week 4 at least.
Yep. And you know what? The Giants franchise will not be saved, and we won't know who Jaxson Dart is after this week.
True.
We won't.
True.
We will see what he is like after X amount of games. Depending, and he's going to go through the ringer too. Assuming that he is starting from here on out, which, who knows with this coaching staff. But, we get the Eagles twice. We play the Lions. We play the Packers. We play the Bears on my, and that's and he's going to have to really overcome some adversity this season. So, wishing him the best. And that's it. With that being said, though, I think I need to give my voice a rest and finally let it heal from the actual game on Sunday, and call it a day. I don't know if you had anything else, Seamus.
No, that's it from me. But, as always, thank you all for tuning in, and make sure that you follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok @DecleatedPod to stay up to date with all things Decleated.